Hi, and welcome to another episode in my Synth Setup series, where I invite an artist with an interesting approach to creating and performing live music to walk us through their setup. Previously, we've seen setups built around hardware sequencers, Ableton Live and modular gear, as well as my own Matrix MIDI and audio setup. This time I invited Claudio, aka Dr. Mix, an extremely talented musician and creator who probably needs no introduction, to take us on a behind-the-scenes tour at how his studio is set up, how he performs with a live looper as the main musical brain, and syncs the rest of his gear to it using its MIDI clock. As usual, I'll add these insights and tips to my book on Patreon. Without further ado, let's get started.
Hello Loop Pop Nation, hi Ziv, I'm super honored to be on your channel. I'm a big fan of yours. I look at your videos when I really want to know something about a synthesizer, and I want to show you a little bit behind the concept that I use to do my looping. So let me dive straight into it. Primarily, I use the Boss RC505. This is a looper. It's probably the best looper that I've owned so far. The next best looper was this. And this can do quite a few things more. And they're great because conceptually, as we know, a looper is something that meshes up the stuff, repeats it, and spits it out as outputs. And in the meantime, you can play more stuff through it, thus becoming your own band. But of course, I interface my looper with a lot more stuff. So let's start from the input. The input can be anything, basically, because you have two sets of inputs, line inputs. So right here, I've got connected my mixer. And then you can have two microphones, right? So one is connected to this. So for example, I can go on and do and I have established a little thing here. Now that I input it via this XLR here, but also I have connected the piano rig, which is two microphones going into this mixer. I do some gain staging here. I make it a little bit hollow in the middle, bit of bass, bit of high top. In this case, I just have the piano going into it. And I've got the pedal down here. So I can pretty much hit the piano like that. So what's cool about it is now that the thing is looping, it has also detected the BPM, right? The BPM is 86.7. This is just because of how I've pressed my start and loop pedal. But here's where it gets interesting, because I then take the MIDI out from the 505 and split it into two. One goes to the TR8 and one goes to the Chaos pad. This means that the minute that I hit that, when I press the button to close the loop, this immediately starts at the right tempo. In fact, we got a bit of reggaeton here going. Oh. two things now are talking to one another and the party is happening. Now, why did I also give the MIDI to the Chaos pad? Because now the BPM is going to synchronize and I can do things like this. Now, the 505 also has effects like right? So now you can combine them. You can remove the kick drum. Maybe go faster here. Yeah? And then usually when I am in this position, I stop. I can choose to get back in time or just leave it open for a second. And then I pull up the kick again. I remove the effect. 3, 4, boom. So this is the essence of it. It's a simple rig, but it's structured enough that I have a bit of like more production here and a little bit more DJing here, you know, so that basically I can accompany myself. I mean, this is for example, this is the setup now. Because I've just done this live set and I wanted to have the flexibility of 2 rigs. So this is one example of how I can set it up, but this is another example of how I can set it up. Now, here I'm using the same concept. Input here, in this case it's a synth, so I can do this. So I have established my loop, right? But what happens is now the MIDI out is going to the multiclock. Because on the multiclock, I can now control the 808, the 909, and also machine. So what happens when I click this button? But as you sure noticed, the thing is not exactly together, is it? So what do? I shift the MIDI. Hold on. I haven't explained what the multiclock is. The multiclock is a MIDI clock distributor, if you wish. So you can drive some MIDI clock into it, or even like an audio signal that you can use inside of a DAW. That signal goes directly via audio into this mini monster here, and basically it becomes super, super tight to your DAW, and then you can forward the MIDI clock or the other one called DIN. In this case, it's DIN. So then it distributes the MIDI to other units. In this case, it's older units that cannot take synchronization too well because of the way they're built. So you have an option to shift the clock back and forth, so that you find the perfect alignment so that all the transients are nice and together. That was a lot, wasn't it? Okay, so I hope this was useful. Thanks again for having me, and keep doing amazing videos. Thank you.
So that's it for now. Thanks very much, Claudio. If you're not already following Dr. Mix, I'll link to his channel below. You'll find all these tips and plenty more in my ever-expanding book on Patreon. hit like if this was useful. Make sure to ring the YouTube bell below if you want to make sure you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching.